This is the brief on the owl, the peanut, and the brown bag. So what is this all about? Well, this piece basically drops you right into a super chaotic first-person narrative. It's a jarring look into the mindset of addiction, denial, and, just spiraling paranoia. First, it kicks off with this intense paranoia about an owl. The narrator's leaving a store and feels like this owl is just disgracefully staring at them. They're convinced the owl knows they're supposed to be alcohol-free and is judging them for carrying a brown bag. It escalates so fast that the owl is suddenly on a phone, a flip phone, calling their partner to report their every move. Second, all that external judgment spills over into this internal conflict about what's actually in the brown bag. The narrator is desperately trying to convince themselves it's for a sick friend, something innocent like NyQuil. But that defense just crumbles and they start questioning if it's Jack Daniels or vodka. Ultimately, they admit the bag just holds nothing but despair, or maybe a new personality. And finally, you get this total break from reality. The scene shifts, the street corner fills with zombies, and the owl, well, the owl's revealed to be the government in disguise, with these huge camera eyes. And here's where it gets personal. The story flat out tells you it landed in your algorithm because they see you, that you can't hide. So a simple walk home with a brown bag devolves into the terrifying realization that the bag holds despair, and the government is watching through the eyes of an owl. There's just nowhere to hide from the truth of what's in the bag.
So I want to start today by asking you a question, and I might sound a little strange. Have you ever heard of a sonic intervention?
A sonic intervention, okay.
Yeah, and I don't mean like a catchy jingle that reminds you to, brush your teeth. I'm talking about a piece of audio that is specifically engineered to terrify you.
To terrify you.
To induce a state of paranoia so acute, so personal, that it actually acts as a mechanism for sobriety.
That's a heavy concept to start with. I mean, we usually think of music as a comfort or, escapism.
Right.
But the idea of a track being weaponized against the listener's own state of mind, that just flips the script on what music is supposed to do.
Exactly. And that brings us to today's deep dive. We are looking at a song by Will Stenner called The Owl, the Peanut, and Brown Bag.
Right.
And normally we're unpacking articles here, research papers, but this is an experience. And I'm going to go on record right now. I am giving this a glowing, unreserved, 5-star review.
Which I think might surprise people once they actually hear the content we're about to describe.
Yeah.
Because we should be clear, this isn't easy listening.
No, absolutely not, no.
This isn't something you put on at a dinner party, is it?
If you play this at a party, the party is over, everyone is going home, and half of them are, checking their locks twice.
Right.
But the reason for the 5 stars is that it achieves its specific goal with just unsettling brilliance. It simulates the paranoia of substance use to scare the listener straight. It's genius, but it is dark.
It really is. It creates this whole psychological landscape that mirrors the chaotic, fragmented thoughts of someone who's using but desperately trying to hide it.
Yeah.
It's a journey through denial, shame, and then eventually full-blown persecution mania. It's like a case study in audio form.
So let's unpack this nightmare. We've got a bit of a roadmap for this deep dive. We're going to walk through the narrative setup, the narrator, and this terrifying owl. We'll look at the symbolism of the brown bag, which is so central to the whole mystery. Then we'll follow the spiral into conspiracy. And finally, we'll talk about the ending, which is where the song literally breaks the fourth wall to attack you, the listener.
And that ending is absolutely key.
Yeah.
But we have to start where the narrator starts, which is just on the street.
Right. The scene is set immediately. The narrator is walking down the street. He's just come out of a liquor store. And right away, there's an antagonist. The owl.
And let's just pause on that for a second. Why an owl? Why not a police officer or a neighbor looking out the window?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Usually the paranoia is about getting arrested or being recognized. But here, it's a bird.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But think about the primal nature of an owl. It's a nocturnal predator. It flies silently. There's something ancient and inescapable about being watched by a bird of prey.
That's a good point.
A cop can be reasoned with. A neighbor can be lied to. But you can't lie to an animal. And the description is very specific. He says the owl would not stop staring at me. And he calls it a disgraceful stare.
That choice of words really stuck with me. Disgraceful. I mean, an owl can't look at you disgracefully. It's just an owl. It's looking for a mouse, That is pure projection, isn't it?
It's textbook projection. It's the narrator's internal shame, just completely externalized. He feels he's been doing something wrong, or as the lyrics say, buying things not necessary for the body.
He knows he shouldn't be there.
He knows. He feels the disgrace, but he can't sit with it, so he just paints that judgment onto the bird. He's filling the silence of nature with his own self-hatred.
And the paranoia, it doesn't wait to ramp up. It's instant. It's not just that the owl is watching. The narrator is convinced the owl is snitching on him.
Yeah, there's that incredible line where he believes the owl gets on the phone to call his significant other.
To say, there he is with the brown bag in hand. It's that classic fear of being caught by the people you love. The owl becomes this enforcer of social norms.
It stops being a bird, and it starts being a surveillance device for his own conscience.
And the way the walking is described, I mean, I tried to read this part out loud and I almost tripped. He says his feet are going inside, side by side, flip, bot, flip, pitter for patter, patter for pitter.
Flip, bot, flip. It's so disorienting.
It sounds like a nursery rhyme gone completely wrong.
It does, but it's also rhythmic disorientation. Think about that feeling when you're intoxicated, that, heavy legs sensation.
Right, yeah.
You're looking at your feet, trying to command them to walk straight, but the signal is lagging. It perfectly mimics stumbling or that feeling of being dissociated.
Then he tries to make a deal with it, with the judgment, the peanut.
Ah, yes, the attempted bargain. This is a crucial stage in the addiction cycle.
He says, I betted a peanut so it would fly away. And for a second it works. The owl leaves, the little with no money spent.
It's that momentary relief. You distract the guilt. You find some temporary fix-a-peanut to make the bad feeling go away. But notice, even though the owl flies away, the feeling of being watched, it stays.
Because the problem isn't the owl.
No, the problem is what's in his hand.
Let's talk about the brown bag. This is the anchor of the whole song. The narrator is completely obsessed with it.
The brown bag is such a potent symbol. I mean, culturally, it's the universal shield of the, quote, functional alcoholic.
That's so true.
It's this thin, crinkling piece of paper that separates respectability from vice. As long as the bottle is in the bag, you can pretend it's anything.
And boy, does he pretend. The way he just cycles through all these different stories about what's inside, it's like watching someone lie to a mirror.
It's a masterclass in denial.
First, he goes for the altruistic excuse. He says it's for somebody else, specifically somebody with a head cold.
Right. He's painting himself as a caretaker. I'm just a good Samaritan popping down to the convenience store. I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm helping a sick friend.
He even lists the potential contents. NyQuil, Pepto-Bismol.
And those are such specific, mundane items. He's trying to ground his lie in the most innocent reality possible. But think about the sensory details there. The weight of a bottle of Pepto-Bismol feels just like a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of that.
He's using that physical similarity to mask the truth, even from himself.
But the mask slips. It has to. He admits the owl knows he claims to be alcohol-free. He says the owl is judging him because he's caught red-handed.
And this is where the psychological defense mechanisms really start to kick in. When that lie fails, when he can't convince himself he's a hero, he switches tactics. He tries to minimize his own actions by comparing himself to others.
Ah, the zombies line. This part felt really harsh, honestly.
It is harsh, but it's very realistic to that mindset. He points to the corner where people are hung low on the fentanyl, looking like zombies flopping over.
He's saying, look at them. I'm not them. I just have a little brown bag.
It's called downward social comparison. It's a classic rationalization. It's just candy, he says at one point. He's trying to create this distance between himself and the addicts down the street. If he can point to someone worse off, then maybe his brown bag isn't so bad.
But the irony is he can't even keep his own story straight. And this is where the song gets really disorienting. He starts taunting the listener, or maybe he's taunting himself. He asks, what's in that brown bag? I don't know.
Yes.
Could it be booze? Could it be alcohol? Could it be Jack Daniel's whiskey or vodka?
The memory loss is setting in. The confusion.
Yeah.
He calls the listener a fool, an ignorant fool, for not knowing what's in the bag, but then he immediately admits he doesn't know either.
I don't know. All I know is what I bought, and what I bought is what I got. It's just circular logic.
It's the logic of intoxication. The certainty is gone. The boundary between the lie and the truth is just dissolved.
Yeah.
And that leads us right into the spiral.
The spiral is where the fun and games, if you can even call them that, they stop. The lyrics take a much, much darker turn regarding identity.
Yes. We move from what is in the bag to Who am I?
He starts asking, who's we? Who's them? Who's them? It's like his personality is just fracturing right in front of us.
And then the most chilling line about the bag comes out. He asks what's in there, and he answers it himself. Nothing but despair.
Oof. That one hits hard. Nothing but despair. And then he says, in the brown bag is my new personality.
That is a terrifying admission. The substance has replaced the self. The new personality is whatever is about to come out of that bottle. He's acknowledging that he's about to transform into someone else, someone he might not like, someone he fears.
And there's that weird pop culture reference thrown in there too. He references Nirvana. Come as you were.
Wearing what smells like teen spirit. But he twists it. He calls it a case study for delusions.
Why do you think he does that? Is that just random?
I don't think so. I mean, smells like teen spirit is this anthem of apathy, of angst.
Yeah.
But here he's warping it. It shows how his mind is just grabbing at random associations, twisting nostalgia into something sick. It's a sign of a scattered brain.
And physically, he's checking out, he's looking in the mirror. He mentions his pupils. First, my pupils are huge. Then he argues with himself. Oh, no, they are not. They're like pins now.
Huge pupils versus pinned pupils. He's oscillating between the symptoms of, stimulants versus opioids? Or maybe he's just so out of it he can't even perceive his own reflection correctly.
He can't trust his own eyes.
Yeah.
Speaking of not trusting things, there's a line that really confused me, and I want your take on it. He denies responsibility, saying, it's not Doug's.
Yes, the Doug line.
The source text says, it's not Doug's, like the name Doug. So is there a guy named Doug? Or is he slurring the word drugs?
And that ambiguity is brilliant, whether it's intentional or not. If he's saying it's not drugs, he's slurring it so badly it sounds like a name. If he's saying it's not Doug's, then who is Doug? Is Doug the dealer? Is he the friend with the head cold?
Right.
Or, and this is my theory, is Doug the name of his sober self? Or maybe the name of the new personality that's in the bag.
That is creepy. The idea that he's splitting into two people and one of them is named Doug, that gives me chills.
It just reinforces that total confusion. He's losing his grip on language, on names, on reality itself.
And that loss of grip sets up the climax. This is the part that earns the 5-star review for me. This is where it goes from a story about a guy to a weapon against the listener.
The return of the owl.
The owl comes back. It wants another peanut. But it's not just a bird anymore. The narrator realizes why the owl has such huge eyes.
It's the government in disguise.
Boom! We have entered full-blown conspiracy territory. The owl is a surveillance drone.
And this is a very common trajectory in paranoid psychosis. The feeling of being watched evolves into a systemic plot. It's not just guilt anymore. It's the state. It's the government in disguise watching me look into the brown bag.
And he believes there are hidden cameras everywhere. But here is the twist. This is the moment where if you were listening to this song while high, you might actually freak out.
The breaking of the fourth wall.
The lyrics explicitly address the person listening. He says, that's why this song landed in your algorithm, because it's you.
Just think about the implications of that line for a second. We live in a world where we know our phones listen to us. We know algorithms predict our behavior.
Right, I talk about buying a toaster, and 10 minutes later, I get an ad for a toaster. It happens all the time.
Exactly. So imagine you are sitting there, engaging in a substance, maybe feeling a little guilty, hiding your own brown bag, and suddenly the song tells you the algorithm sent this to you because it knows WS.
It's diabolical. It's leveraging modern tech anxiety to try and induce sobriety. He says, hey, we see you. You're crazy.
They see you.
It effectively gaslights the listener, or maybe it truth lights them. It accuses the audience. It says, you think you're hidden. You think you're safe in your room. The government, the algorithm, the owl, we all know what's in your brown bag.
It dissolves the barrier between the art and the consumer. The song claims to be a direct message from the surveillance state to you, the listener. You can't hide. You can't hide. That repetition at the end is just claustrophobic.
It really is. It feels like the walls are closing in.
And that's why we give it 5 stars. Not because it's a bop, you're not going to dance to this, but because as a piece of functional audio art, it's incredibly effective. It takes you through the entire cycle. The shame, the denial, the rationalization, the dissociation, and finally, the paranoid realization that there is no privacy.
It's a scared straight program compressed into a single music track. It weaponizes the medium itself.
It does. It forces self-reflection through terror. If you can listen to this track and not feel a little twinge of, oh no, do they know? You're probably stone cold sober. But if you're on the edge, This song is designed to push you over it.
It's such a unique approach to intervention. Usually it's all hugs and we love you and we want you to get better. This is we see you, the government is watching you, and you're crazy.
It's high-stakes shock therapy. It's betting that fear is a stronger motivator than love in that specific moment of using.
So what does this all mean for us? I think it forces us to look at how we consume media and, well, how media consumes us.
Absolutely. And it leaves us with that lingering question about the algorithm. It taps into that very modern fear that our data profile knows the real us better than our friends do.
Right. That's the thought I want to leave everyone with today. We joke about the algorithm knowing us better than we know ourselves. But if art reflects life, and this song somehow found you or landed in your feed, does the algorithm know something about your habits that you're refusing to admit to yourself?
Is it a coincidence? Or is it a data point?
Terrifying thought. On that note, stay safe out there, everyone.
And watch out for the owls.
See you next time on The Deep Dive.
Welcome to the debate.
Good to be here.
Today, we're dissecting a piece of audio that feels less like a story and more like a wiretap into a breaking mind. We are analyzing the source material titled The Owl, the Peanut, and the Brown Bag. It is a monologue, really, recorded by a man walking home from a convenience store late at night. He's carrying a brown paper bag, he is convinced he's being watched by an owl, and he is spiraling.
Spiraling is exactly the right word. I mean, this text is a masterclass in disorientation. It starts off so mundane, a guy buying medicine, and then it just dissolves into this paranoid fever dream. You've got government surveillance, hidden cameras, a complete identity crisis. It's visceral, it's uncomfortable, and frankly, it's terrifying.
And that terror, I think, brings us to the central tension here. Is this a kind of scared straight story about a sober man being psychologically tormented by unfair suspicion, from his partner or from society? Is the brown bag actually innocent?
Or is this the audio log of a relapse in real time? My position is that we are listening to a deeply unreliable narrator who is attempting to rationalize his way out of that relapse. The brown bag doesn't contain injustice. It contains the evidence he just can't bring himself to admit to. The text is a simulation of the madness that comes with using.
See, I take the opposing view. I believe the narrator is a victim of what you might call the dry drunk stigma, where a sober person is still treated like an addict by everyone around him. The paranoia isn't chemical, it's social. He is being hunted by the judgment of others, and it's all symbolized by that owl. He's walking this tightrope of sobriety, and the people who should be his net are the ones shaking the rope.
Okay, let's get into the evidence then, because the text is slippery. You believe the purchase is innocent. Walk me through that logic.
Well, look at the logistics he presents. He says, and this is a quote, "The only store open was the small convenience store on the corner." Now, this is a critical piece of context. If you are sober and someone you love has a head cold at 2 a.m, you don't really have the luxury of a brightly lit pharmacy. You go to the corner store, the bodega, the one place that says everything. You go there because they sell NyQuil and Pepto-Bismol.
That's the alibi. It's a classic setup.
I'd call it a rational justification. He explicitly lists medicinal items. He says they are necessary for the body. The tension here, it arises not because of what he bought, but because he knows how it looks. He sees the owl reprimanding him. That is the very specific anxiety of the recovering addict, doing the right thing but looking like you're doing the wrong thing. He knows that walking out of that store with that bag is an indictment, regardless of what's actually inside.
See, I read that list of items, the NyQuil, the Pepto-Bismol, as a cover story that just completely falls apart under pressure. Listen to the progression of his description. He starts with medicine. Then he diminishes it, right? It's just candy. Then it becomes totally abstract, nothing but despair. And then finally, the most damning line of all, it contains my new personality.
Which is a powerful metaphor for how he feels when he's accused. He becomes the person they think he is.
I don't think it's a metaphor. I think it's a confession. A new personality is a terrifying euphemism for intoxication. It's the alter ego that comes out when the bottle opens. I mean, if he were truly holding Pepto-Bismol, he wouldn't need to have an internal debate about whether or not he's lying. He literally says, maybe I'm lying, maybe it's habitual. That is cognitive dissonance in its purest form. He is holding the bottle and his mind is fracturing to deny it. A man buying cough syrup doesn't wonder if he's habitually lying about it.
I think you are mistaking his internal monologue for guilt when it's actually internalized gaslighting. I mean, when you are constantly accused of lying, you start to question your own reality. He asks, could it be booze? Could it be Jack Daniels? He isn't asking himself because he doesn't know. He is mimicking the voice of his accuser. He's interrogating himself before he gets home to face the music. He's rehearsing the fight.
But the interrogation is incoherent. He says, maybe it's just schizophrenic. That is a very specific medical flagging. He is acknowledging a break in his own processing. He isn't just worried about his wife. He's worried about his own mind.
Or he's expressing how the accusation makes him feel crazy. I mean, that label, schizophrenic, it's thrown around loosely in society to dismiss people who are agitated. He feels the world is treating him like a madman just for buying medicine.
But context matters here. Look at the setting he describes. It's vivid. People hung low on the fentanyl, looking like zombies. He is walking through an open-air drug market. For a recovering addict, that is an extremely high-trigger environment. The brown bag becoming his new personality strongly suggests he succumbed to that environment. He asks, will you come as you were, or do you just mirror your mirage? He's asking if he can maintain the facade of sobriety while holding the bag.
I read the mirage line completely differently. I think he is critiquing the artificiality of the whole situation. He has to mirror the expectation of sobriety even when he is being treated like a criminal. He is surrounded by the fentanyl zombies, as he calls them, but notice he distinguishes himself from them. He observes them with fear, not camaraderie. He is scared straight by them, he sees the flopping over, and it terrifies him. That's the reaction of someone fighting to stay away from that life, not someone joining it.
He might be fighting, but I think he lost the round. Let's pivot to the owl. This is really the antagonist of the piece, and frankly, it's the most disturbing element.
The owl is the external pressure.
The owl is the pathology.
The narrator claims the owl followed him. He says it is reprimanding him. I would argue the owl is a manifestation of the superego, the judgmental, watching eye of his partner or his society. It's not a hallucination. It's a symbol of the surveillance state of his relationship. He feels, pecked at.
If it stayed a symbol, I might agree with you. But the text crosses the line into what's called a delusion of reference. This is a psychiatric term where a person believes neutral events, like a bird sitting on a wire, are directly communicating with them. He claims the owl is on the phone with his significant other. He isn't speaking poetically. He literally thinks the bird is an informant.
Which feels like dark humor to me. Oh, that bird is definitely reporting back to my wife. It's the kind of bitter joke you make when you feel like you have zero privacy.
It stops being humor when he bribes it. He bets a peanut. He says, away it flew, with no money spent. And then he escalates. The owl is the government in disguise. He claims the government has hidden cameras everywhere watching you in your brown bag. That isn't relationship stress. That is classic paranoid psychosis. This is the scared straight scenario showing the listener what happens when the chemicals take over the logic centers of your brain.
I think you're taking the government line too literally. I mean, in the modern world, don't we all feel some level of digital paranoia? The algorithm he mentions later ties directly into this. He feels watched by the system. The peanut is a moment of grounding. It's a small, absurd interaction with nature that just breaks the tension. He gives the judge this frantic offering to be left alone. It's desperate, yes, but it's human.
It's a ritual to ward off evil. And look at how he checks his own body. This is where the whole sober theory really hits a wall for me. He looks in the mirror, or he tries to, and describes his eyes, my pupils are huge, then immediately, oh no, they're not. They're like pins now.
He's panicking. He is anticipating the eye check he knows he is going to get the second he walks through the door. Every partner of an addict knows the eye check.
But he is describing physiological contradictions. Pins or meiosis is a classic symptom of opioid use. Huge pupils, dilation, suggests stimulants or withdrawal. The fact that he oscillates between the two means he has lost proprioception. He cannot accurately perceive his own physical form. He is checking the mirror crazily, his word, because he needs the mirror to tell him if he is high or not. A sober person knows what their eyes look like. A person in the middle of a psychotic break or a drug binge does not.
A traumatized person doesn't either. If you have been gaslit into thinking you look high when you aren't, you become obsessed with your own reflection. He is cycling through the accusations he expects to hear. Do I look pinned? Do I look blown out? It is a rehearsal for the argument waiting for him at home. He has seen his own fear reflected back at him, not drugs.
That is an incredibly generous reading for a man who thinks a bird is a government drone.
It's an empathetic reading. We have to look at the intention of the piece. You keep calling it scared straight, suggesting it's a warning about drugs. I think it's a warning about judgment.
How so?
It shows the listener how terrifying it is to be the object of constant suspicion. It scares us into realizing that our lack of empathy, our staring like an owl, can drive a person to the brink. It challenges us to stop looking for the bottle in the bag and start seeing the human being carrying it. The paranoia is the direct result of being treated like a criminal in your own home.
And I see it as a scared straight scenario for the user. If this piece has a purpose, it is to simulate the suffocating claustrophobic logic of paranoia. It puts you inside the head of someone who can't trust their own senses. It scares you sober because it shows you that the worst part of addiction isn't the physical ruin, it's the mental prison. The owl is always watching. The bag is always suspicious. You can never just buy candy again. The new personality takes over, and you are just a passenger.
But let's look at the ending, because the narrator turns the camera right on the listener. That's why this song landed in your algorithm, because it's you.
Yeah, this is the most aggressive part of the text.
Exactly. This is the key takeaway. He breaks the fourth wall to tell us that the brown bag is universal. We all have things we hide. We all feel the paranoia of being watched. He's using this intense narrative to force empathy. He wants us to feel the terror of being the suspect. He's saying, you think I'm crazy? You're being watched too.
I see that as projective identification. He cannot handle the shame of the bag, so he tries to dump it on the audience. They see you. You can't hide. He is trying to normalize his delusion by insisting that we are also being watched by government cameras. It is a desperate attempt to validate his fractured reality. If everyone is being watched, then he isn't crazy. It's a manipulation. He drags us into the mud so he doesn't have to stand there alone.
But notice the pop culture references. Nirvana's Come As You Are. He calls it a case study for delusions. That kind of meta-awareness suggests he is crafting a narrative, not just suffering through one. He is composing a piece about the thin line between sanity and madness. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Or his mind is fragmented, latching onto lyrics because he can't form original thoughts. Flip, bot, flip, pitter for patter. That rhythmic repetition, that is the cadence of a compulsion. He is walking to the beat of his own anxiety. The case study line is the most chilling part because he is the case study. He is the specimen in the jar, and the owl is the scientist tapping on the glass.
I maintain the rhythm is the walk. He is putting one foot in front of the other, clutching that bag of Pepto-Bismol like a lifeline. The tragedy is that the truth of the bag doesn't matter. He could have a receipt, a witness, and a drug test, but to the ignorant fools, the owl, the partner, he is guilty until proven innocent. And that is why the bag contains despair.
And I maintain that the truth of the bag is the only thing that matters, and he is terrified of it. The brown bag is a black box. He refuses to open it for us. He says, I know what's in the brown bag, but then he immediately undermines it. The horror here isn't that he is falsely accused. It's that he has lost the ability to distinguish between a bird, a camera, and his own conscience.
You are focusing on the pathology, and I am focusing on the humanity. Even if he is relapsing, the terror he feels, this belief that the government is watching, it comes from a place of deep shame. The scared straight element works because it strips away the glamour of partying and leaves only the naked fear of exposure.
It's not just exposure, it's the disintegration of the self. That's what scares me about this piece. It's not the police he's afraid of, it's the loss of his own narrative. When he says maybe it's habitual, he is admitting that he is a passenger in his own life. The addiction is driving the car, or in this case, walking the street.
The text leaves us in that ambiguity. It forces us to ask, are we the ignorant fool staring like an owl? Are we judging this man based on the brown bag of his history rather than his current actions? Are we, contributing to the paranoia that drives people to relapse?
Or are we witnessing the terrifying logic of addiction, where the mind will invent government conspiracies and talking birds just to avoid admitting that the bag contains a bottle? The text functions as a warning. This is where that road leads.
Ultimately, it's a piece that challenges our perception of truth. It suggests that once trust is broken, reality itself just begins to fray. The brown bag becomes a heavy burden, regardless of what's inside.
And it suggests that sometimes the paranoia is justified because the new personality is waiting right inside the bag, ready to take over.
A disturbing thought. We'll let the listeners decide what was really in the bag and who the owl really is. Thanks for joining the debate.
Until next time.